Oh my goodness, I'm Maxwell Garcia. Today we're doing another season review, and this is for the Apple TV Plus original series called C. And C is just a whole entire mess. And this is not to imply anything to the rest of Apple TV Plus. I really do like Dickinson and The Morning Show, and we'll talk about those shows in another video. But today we're talking about C. Complicated just situations and questions that you have from time to time. So right now season 1 is all on Apple TV Plus. There's 8 episodes. Each episode's around 50 minutes long, and oh my gosh, those first few episodes, they're taking up all those 50 minutes to get the story rolling. And what is this story? Well, it is a complete fantasy. So it's similar to Game of Thrones, kind of, not really. Game of Thrones is like one of probably the top 10 shows of all time. That show is a king, and literally there's kings and queens in that show. And then C is just like looking up to Game of Thrones and like, oh, I wish I could be you, but I just can't. So the huge reality in C is that it is 500 years after, let's say, 2020. And every single person on that earth in 2520 is now blind. Because back in 2020, there was a virus that wiped out everyone who could see, and the only survivors were blind. Interesting situation, okay. And then since it's 500 years after everyone was able to see, if you speak of the ability to see, it's like heresy, it's witchcraft, it's oh my gosh, what is that term? Until this magical moment where twins are born with the ability to see. Haniwa and Kofun, two Princess Magra, and the best character in the show, Bubba Voss, who is played by Jason Momoa. And Jason Momoa did a spectacular job acting in this show, even though the whole situation is a mess. And in the first episode of Game of Thrones, they do a shocking scene where they kind of paralyze this kid to save their love, to keep their love secret. But in this show, nothing really happens where it's like, oh my gosh, it's eye-gawking in the first few episodes. Sure, you have this early battle with their little village, and Bubba Voss is leading them against the Witchfinders, because the Witchfinders are loyal to this queen called Queen Jane, or Queen Kane, who actually just masturbates in public, by the way, which is super weird. We really never get an answer onto exactly why she's doing that, and she like prays to the gods while she's doing it. Super weird, but there's a bunch of questions that pop up in your mind during this show. But anyways, this show just takes so long to get the ball rolling. Like, it takes me like 3 hours to first finally get invested in the characters, and you're like, oh, this is what's going on. And the first, like, majority of the show is just about this Witchfinder Tamakti June trying to find those twins who now have the ability to see. And for that to happen, they time skip like 15 years. Which makes sense, but like this Witchfinder is searching for the twins for like 30 years and never even comes in contact with the queen? How do they even like eat and get supplies? How do they keep the soldiers loyal for that long? How is there not like controversy within that little Witchfinder gang? I don't know. There's so many questions, such a mess. But here's the thing. So Magra gave birth to the pair of twins, and the father is this sighted man named Jurla Morel, who's this kind of like myth and legend in the first episode. We see him for like a couple seconds say something to Bubba Voss, who is kind of like the stepfather, stepping in as the father role with Margra and Haniwa and Kofun. But then we don't see Jurla Morel until the last episode, where we see him have this god complex, think that with the ability to see, you're above everyone else. And he gets that logic smacked right back into his face when he loses a fight to an unsighted man, Bubba Voss, in one of the best scenes in the whole show. But that whole ending is like super rushed. Like the first 7 episodes are just chilling. I do have to admit, episode 4 with the river, that was quality tension stuff right there. But the whole show is just cruising. And then episode 8 is just all the tension and then just ends right there. And you're like, what did I just see in my eyes? Like, how did this character development just happen through this timeline in seconds? So, throughout the whole show, Queen Kane is trying to gain her power back. Queen Kane wants to marry Jerla Morel so she could have sighted children. And that's also another question I have, like a major question. Every single time Jerla Morel impregnates a woman, the woman has children that can see. Isn't it like a 50% chance? Like, I think that's what I learned in biology. I could be mistaken, but like, if Jerla Morel has sex with a person who doesn't have the ability to see, isn't that a 50-50 chance? So far in the show, it's 3 for 3 from what we could see, or even higher than that, because we haven't seen any children of Jerla Morel that can't see. And that would have been such an interesting plot. Like, imagine if Jerla Morel impregnates Mongra. They have 3 children, so triplets, and one of them can't see, but like, let's say Haniwa and Kofun can see. Like, will that third child be left out? When the third child meets Jerla Morel, that'd be super interesting. And 2 characters that were super underdeveloped, and you really don't know what they're thinking at like each and every episode. They're just like there in the background while all the other people are manipulating the strings, and that's Boots and Bowline. Although Bowline in the beginning was like this shadow, and this concept is pretty cool in this world where no one can see, and that's how like a female is like so good at her balance and agility and could be so secretive, kind of like a spy, and she can collect information for a fee. And I thought that concept was pretty cool, executed well. But there's other parts of the show where you're like, why do they have fire in dark places? And I think we're going to get to see this more in season 2, because at the end of season 1, Jerla Morel ships off Haniwa to like this other kingdom or this other tribe of people who are also blind. And Kofun, Bubba Voss, and this person named Paris are left out looking at like this city of Godbone or concrete, and they're like, Haniwa's in there. And the reason Haniwa and Kofun met Jerla Morel, because there was this whole like path to like the house of the enlightened, where there was like a couple people who had the ability to see, and they were like reading books, but there was no shows or movies, which I think if it's only 500 years later, shouldn't there be at least some like a TV somewhere that may need to be plugged in? And when you have electricity, plumbing, that isn't possible. Anyways, I think in season 2 they're going to open up the universe a little bit more to these places of Godbone or concrete, these actual cities, because so far throughout the whole show, episodes 1 through 8, they all took place in rural areas. Beautiful cinematography, by the way, like the 4K in this show, the way each shot is taken, so pleasing to the eyes. The Witchfinder Tamakti June gets stabbed in episode 8. I'm telling you, episode 8 was just in things that were happening. Event sequence was ridiculous. Tamakti June gets stabbed, and then like I think they missed this opportunity because like he gets stabbed and we all think he's dead, but then like 20 minutes later they go to a shot of him panning around, but then he's just there dead still. So we have no confirmation if he's alive. I guess we're gonna have to wait until season 2 to see if he's alive. I am like 99.9% sure he's alive, but all it took was him to open his eyes, and then you would have had that instant realization, and that's pretty good in a crowd. It's like Jon Snow dying, and then the next season, I guess, you don't really know if he's going to come back alive, and then he does. This just, the show has a lot of faults. One episode, I really do like this episode. Haniwa and Kofun and their little tribe, they go to this place where people are just celebrating and they're happy because they're running away from the Witchfinders, and it's like right next to an amusement park, so you see like this really aged roller coaster. It's cool to see, but then Haniwa and Kofun get captured, and then Bubba Voss has this awesome action scene against other blinded people, and it feels as though like people like Bubba Voss and Paris, their abilities without sight are just like so enhanced. Like I know that's like scientific facts. Like if you are blind, you're gonna have a better ability to hear, smell, taste, things like that. But it feels like they have the Force. Like in Star Wars, Paris can like see the future. And like Bubba Voss is super precise with what he does. I mean, they do a fairly well job keeping everyone looking blind. So like they have all these ropes for people to like maneuver around the tribe, which just makes sense. But way too many plot holes. I will sadly be watching season 2. This show, mediocre. We could freeze it, and it would just be an average score. I think we give it a 5, because, probably lower than a 5, honestly, because I really do like Dickinson and the morning show better. It was alright. Left a lot to be given on the table. I really would have liked episode 8 to be stretched out a little bit more. I would have liked a quicker introduction to the whole universe. I would have liked maybe a person who's the son of Jerla Morel or a daughter of Jerla Morel who doesn't have the ability to see. But that Jerla Morel Bubba Voss fight scene when, this is another question, but it's still an awesome scene, when Jerla Morel has the gun and is trying to beat Bubba Voss with it, and then he turns off the lights and it's like, you're my territory now. But it's like there's like this door with a bunch of light coming in, and Jerla Morel doesn't run to it, even though he does at that moment have the ability to see. He gets blinded, and he's still alive at the end of the show, which makes it seem that he's going to do something in season 2. I don't know what, but left a lot to be desired. Alright, that's it for me here. Thank you for watching. Make sure you're blessed. Peace out. Ba ba bum ba ba bum bum bum.